Needham. You're staring at a couple of guys who may or may not be on a float come 4th of July, Ryan. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. Anyway, you're watching What's My House Worth? My name is Rob Ticktin. This is Ryan McDonnell. And we're realtors with Hawthorn Properties, first and foremost. We're also television hosts, and we're here today to bring you all the sales data from the month of, Ryan?
May, Rob.
That's right, the month of May, and we're happy to report there were quite a few sales.
Yep.
So we don't have to sit here and talk slowly for a half hour. So that's exciting news for everybody.
And a nice break from previous months.
No question. So why don't we just take a look at the big numbers, and then we'll kind of drill it down sale by sale. So with that being said, Ryan, why don't you get us rolling and talk a little bit about what it is that you see in the month of May.
I see just about a carbon copy of May from last year, Rob.
Okay.
Similar to last year, we have 28 sales. Our average sale price of 1.16. That's up from 1.1 last year. Percentages are tremendous.
Yep.
Both over 100, which tells us that A, there's a lot of demand, and B, homeowners and agents are pricing their houses appropriately.
Yep.
And look at the average days on market.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny. You know what that tells me, as well as the 101% of list and original list, it tells me that we're seeing sales that are reflective of the time period of the very early part of the spring market, right? So that's when all this pent-up demand is, and that's what's driving these numbers.
Yeah, 16 days is as low as we've seen. I feel like we've said that multiple times, but this is the lowest of the low.
Yep.
And by low, we mean good. So
yeah.
Great, really a positive month of May, Rob, as far as closings go.
Yeah, well, that's some good news.
Sure.
And a lot of sales to talk about, which is also some good news. But let's take a look at May over the last 6 years. And yeah, I would say that's about as consistent as we'll see. Wouldn't you agree?
Yep, I mean, stacks up pretty good. I mean, 35 sales in 16, that's obviously a spike. But, you know, I think it shows that we still are in a strong market, and we're poised for a busy month of June and probably July as well.
Yeah, lots of stuff under agreement. We'll get to that later. But take a look at the average sales price over the last 6 Mays. And that's kind of an interesting graph too, Ryan. We haven't seen this design before, where you've got, you know, this trend going up for 3 months, and then almost like they hit the reset button in May of 2016. And then 3 more months that go upward.
Yeah, and interestingly, May of 16, as we just talked about, was the month with the most sales.
Yeah.
So there must have been a good run on homes on the lower end of the market in that May of 16.
All right, so time to go through these sales and see if anybody recognizes any of them, or if you have your eyes on any of them. We're going to hit them all, 28 of them. We're going to start with the low sales price and work our way up. The first one we are going to go into is on Hunting Road. That's 286 Hunting Road. This one a pretty visible location, Ryan. It's right there near Kendrick.
Yeah, I mean, your search is over here, Rob. I mean, this is, you know, you're talking about a move-in colonial, move-in ready colonial.
Yep.
for priced under 6. I mean, it went over 6, but that sort of speaks to its eye-catchiness, being positioned well at 570. You know, it butts 128. Hunting's a well-traveled road, obviously, but, you know, still, you're getting a colonial. You can move right in. Not the first time this house has traded in recent years, by the way. And, you know, quick sale, 4 days on market.
I would advise anybody sitting at a computer right now to look up 286 Hunting Road on Google Maps, Ryan. I don't know if you happen to see that picture, but I think any prospective buyer probably didn't want to see it.
That's
because
fun for everybody.
It's a traffic jam,
Yeah.
and there's a car in the driveway that's just locked, and you go to your right and you go to your left, there's just cars everywhere. So that's definitely not the picture you want to put on the listing sheet.
No.
But just kind of funny to see that.
Yep.
And a deal of the month candidate for me anyway.
For
the seller. I thought it was a good number.
Okay.
But anyway, let's go to another house with the exact same sales price. This one, similar location in the sense that it's on Greendale, which, you know, Hunting and Greendale kind of connect. And this is 818 Greendale. This one looked to be a little bit more of a listing for a developer or somebody who wanted to do something with this.
Certainly how it was positioned.
Well, it's a big lot, right?
20,000 plus square feet. This one was a short sale, so for those that don't know what that means, it just means that the current owner owes more on the property than its market value, and those tend to have a long closing cycle. Well, this went under agreement in January, so I didn't think it. You know, getting it done in May when it goes under in January, it doesn't take that long.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe there are less of them than there used to be, so they're shuffling through quicker.
Yeah, so all things considered, I think a tidy little deal for both sides, all 3 sides. You have to have a bank in there too.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. So sticking with this theme of listings that are right next to 128, we're going to go to our third sale, which is One Central Terrace. Central Terrace, for those of you who don't know, is off of Central, but it's right near 128. And this one, you know what the assessed value was on this one?
I do not.
446.
That's less.
That's significantly less. Central Terrace, though, a private road.
Yeah, and cul-de-sac?
I don't know.
More of a dead end. Yeah.
Well, I guess give the listing agent credit for putting the question mark there, right?
But I think it was in the context of cul-de-sac, check. Moving condition, check. That's how it was.
I thought it was more like cul-de-sac.
No, I don't think
yeah,
so.
maybe.
I think they were dangling the cul-de-sac out there as like, we got that box checked. But it's more of it's a cul-de-sac if you're on a tricycle.
Yeah. Well, listen, there are people on that street on tricycles, I'm sure.
Good, starter home.
Yeah.
It's a little dated, but you can move in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go.
All right, next up is we're going to get a little bit closer to town now.
We sure are.
21 Gayland Road is the next listing. Whoa!
Oh, look at that.
Whoa!
How about that?
That was quick.
Yeah, how about something that goes, 40 grand over asking, and I'm in there saying the buyer got the better end of it.
Yeah, and you of all people.
I know.
But
Well,
tell us why.
I think this one, you'll start to see kind of more my thinking as we get into some of these homes to follow. Because there's a couple one that we're going to talk about that are like the same price as this. And I just feel like with Gayland for 700 grand, you're getting a house that's move-in condition. It's 4 bedrooms. It's been updated. It's walk to town. And the Needham's Treasure, the Junction, is referenced in the listing sheet.
Which I don't mind.
No, I don't either. Small lot. It's 7,400 square feet, but you can move right in, and it abuts the train, and that's the reason for the discount here. And as we all know, the train is a part of life in Needham. This one obviously is closer to it. It's very close to Junction, where the train will be stopping and starting. So there's a little bit more to it there. Mm-hmm. But I mean, as we get into the next 2 listings, and also one a little bit later that I'll refer back to, this one when we're there, I think this is a great deal for the buyer. Okay,
very good. This one sold for $515 in 2015. Had some work done over the last few years, which would explain, at least partly explain, the higher sales price.
For sure.
Alrighty, nice work. Good to have that in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, I'm going to take the rest of the show off.
Yeah, I'm jealous. 17 Daly Street is the next listing. We're going back to that Central Terrace area. This one close to Central, also close to 128. We both walked through this one, Ryan. Yeah. And very unique layout. Remember the back of the house was something, didn't feel like an ordinary cape when you were in there necessarily.
Right, and it's, when I look at this one compared to Gayland, it's same price essentially. Yep. It's a little bit maybe more recently updated. It's a little maybe nicer on the finishes, but the location doesn't compare, in my opinion. I mean, this is over, sort of off of St. Mary's near the Newton line, off Central.
Fair.
I think Gayland's a more desirable location, and it's bigger, and Gayland's got another bedroom. So it's for your same 700 grand, Gayland versus Daly, I take Gayland.
Okay, and take Gayland you did.
Yeah.
Our next listing is, really, I shouldn't have even bothered putting the square footage of the house there, because ultimately what was the most important item with the next listing was the square footage of the lot, because it was advertised to developers, and over 20,000 square feet, rolling lane. Thoughts about that listing?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's 860 square feet. Didn't it look bigger than that, though?
I mean, everything looks bigger than that.
I guess. But yeah, this we're all assuming is a land sale. Rolling Lane, this is mentioned, is near the new elementary school, which, by the way, is gigantic.
Yeah, well, I was going to refer to it as the Sunita L. Williams Office Park.
Right. I we've often remarked that they have the right plans, because that school, from what we can see from the street right now, is enormous.
You could almost fit 3 Newmans in it.
Goodness
Huge.
gracious.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they're going to have a classroom for every kid.
We're wondering if anybody else is asking this question.
I don't know. But anyway, stay tuned for that. But that's 53 Rolling Lane, Rob.
Yeah, good sized lot. And, nice quiet neighborhood.
Yeah, for sure.
Walk to Valente. We'll have another Walk to Valente location in a little bit. But for now, we're going to head over to Great Plain Avenue, 1541 Great Plain Avenue. This is a listing that is on the Wellesley side of Central Ave, although walk to Newman Elementary.
Yep.
And sells for $712. We have a lot in this kind of $700,000 range, don't we, Ryan?
We do.
Which I think goes back to your Gayland listing.
So,
Another one?
Well, this one I thought was interesting, was one day on market.
Yes.
And it sells for $712, which tells me it probably got one offer. Like you said, like offers due, and you're hoping to get multiple.
Right, but if that were the case, I mean, I see one day on market. I don't even see a weekend open house.
That's a good point.
Right? Yeah, so that's...
But I mean, how did someone come in and knock their socks off with $712 on day one?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be MLS manipulation. Who knows?
Rob.
We don't know. I don't even know.
We're not suggesting anything.
No,
but,
I'm not.
But yeah, that's interesting to me. I wonder what the circumstances were leading up to that.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll never know.
We won't. Certainly not now.
No. Okay, so you want to move on?
I think we should.
Yeah, I think it's best. Let's go over to Yale.
Okay.
44 Yale Road is the next listing. This is, I like how they say a perfect street. That's a lot different than the perfect street.
Right. It's leaving the door open for discussion.
Yeah, well, yeah, or it's you're saying, okay, I'll allow a perfect
Right.
street.
It's not saying it's the best location or the most desirable.
Which we kind of have one of those a little bit later, right? But we've had quite a few things I feel like on Yale over the last.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of the houses that look just like that one too.
Agreed. In that garage, by the way, I like how they put on the listing sheet. The car would not fit in that garage.
Right, so they
it's
said no
essentially
garage.
storage, and then it's bonus space.
Yeah. So this one interestingly sold in 1998 for $292,000, and it basically doubled in 8 years and sold in the fives 8 years later, and then not so much appreciation in the last 12 years.
How many years? Oh, I see.
So it's 3 recent sales, relatively speaking, and just huge appreciation, and then it slowed down a little bit.
Well, yeah, you can't, appreciate.
Can't have everything.
Crazy
Yale.
clip forever, right? And you have a lot there.
Yeah.
Next listing is on Great Plain Avenue, 294 Great Plain Avenue.
Not for long.
That's right. So real quick, I used the second picture
I noticed
instead of
that.
the first.
I wondered why.
Well, because the primary picture they used for the listing was very short and wide, and I just didn't think it would look as good.
Yeah, you have artistic license.
It was a
Rob.
coin
Knock
flip,
yourself
because
out.
not that this looks, lights
You're
out.
looking at the side of their house in the backyard.
So this house was actually purchased by a developer, Ryan, who is now repackaging it, since this was on the corner of Great Plain and Old Farm, as an Old Farm renovation, I guess we could say. And it's went on the market at 1,049, and what they advertised, which I thought was very smart, was it was one floor living of essentially what would feel like a brand new house.
Yeah.
Which there aren't any of those.
Yeah, and there's definitely a market for that.
And it went under agreement very quickly.
Yeah, it's a good play. I think that it was a smart move by the developer. They're not going to add on to it. They're going to take what's already there and make a house that there aren't a ton of on the market, and there's definitely demand for it. So it's a good move.
It's a credit too, and being able to see things in listings that maybe other developers do not.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's 294 Great Plain Avenue. Over on Elder Road, that would be 11 Elder Road, you'll find our next one. And interestingly, this one was on the market a little bit in 2017. I don't know if you noticed that, for $799, and they couldn't sell it. And all of a sudden it comes off, and it comes back on, at just the right time, in the sweet spot, early 2018.
Always the sweet spot.
And then it goes for over 8.
In 4 days.
In 4 days.
Yeah, good job.
It's got to feel good, right?
Yeah, a little older, a little wiser.
Yeah, but yet anyone looking for a home that will last a lifetime. Here's a question for you as we look at our next listing.
Okay.
When you see the name of this street, what do you think of?
Back to school.
Very good. That would be the feature film Back to School. Nicely done, Ryan.
I mean, I can't help it.
Yeah, specifically one line that we really can't get into, but absolutely. 15 Mellon Street is the next listing. This one is, the 2-car garage is nice, certainly.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Although it
And
almost looks invisible.
That's a nice sales. Yeah, it's like camo for winter weather. That's a nice sales price.
Yeah, but I mean, and also even more so when you factor in that it's actually 1,400 square feet and not 2010.
Square footage police is
We
out.
do have some lower level finished space being cited. And Rob, we haven't been here in a while. We're back in the stepladder streets.
Good to be back. It has been a while.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting thing that I noticed about this listing, which I'm sure you didn't. So the assessed value of this house was $551,000.
Yeah.
But the listing agent did not put the assessed value on the listing sheet.
Doesn't that populate itself?
Apparently not, and if it does, they deleted it.
Oh,
and all
wow.
I can think of is maybe, just maybe, they thought that it might drag down the sales price a little bit.
That would be the only reason to take it out, because it does pre-populate when you plug in the address.
Does it?
Yeah. Yeah, you can click to pull up tax records, and that's one of them.
Well, maybe they don't click to pull up tax
Yeah,
records.
maybe you just bypass that little step.
Well, yeah, so whether it was done on purpose or not certainly didn't have a negative effect on the
No,
sales
I think
price.
it may have had no effect until now.
Or a positive one. 36 LaSalle Road is the next listing.
All righty.
It's, it feels good, Ryan.
All right, get into it.
All right, here we go. Let me begin by saying, even though it's, I like the house, first and foremost. 36 LaSalle had a lot going for it. This was that first kind of big week on the spring market, which we've talked about a zillion times, is the time you want to go on the market. So 36 LaSalle comes on, priced it perfectly at $850, And coincidentally, there were a couple other listings that came on the market the exact same week that might have been priced a little bit higher than LaSalle. And as a result, it just made LaSalle look that much better.
Yep.
So sure enough, they get 13 offers, Ryan, on a house listed for $850. It sells for $930. You know what do you remember what this house is missing?
Garage?
No, it's missing a
family
bathroom on the first floor.
Right.
There was a full bath on the basement, a full bath on the second floor,
right.
and there were there was no tub either. Keep in mind, but no bath, not even a half bath on the first floor. Sells for $930. Great house, good location. I just think the sellers had to be delighted at that number, especially considering first and second floor, according to public records, 1,600 square feet. The listing sheet called it 2,100. It was including basement space.
Yep.
So.
Good
There
one.
you go. Thank
Good
you.
job.
36 LaSalle sells for $930. Next one sells for $965. It's 21 Concord.
Yeah.
Similar location. Well, this is kind of half Cape, half colonial.
Yep.
So we
It's a
affectionately
caplonial.
it's a caplonial.
Yep.
As we've coined the term. And you made a noise as we were coming into this one.
Yeah, because I just I can't keep bringing up Galen. People are getting sick of it. I'm getting sick of it. But you're basically just a little bit bigger, same specs as far as beds and baths, although this is 3 full, Galen's 2.5, or two baths rather, and it's $265,000 more.
Well, did Galen have 4 beds on the second floor?
No.
Okay.
But
makes
still,
a difference.
okay, it does, but $265,000.
Yeah.
So I really think that if you're watching this, new owner of Galen, you got yourself a good deal.
I mean,
I really believe it.
gosh, you're so on Galen. I can't believe it. I just didn't see it
there's
coming.
and I don't think that the Concord sales necessarily, an inflated
No,
value.
I like it.
I think it works.
I like Concord.
It's the location is probably superior to Galen. In fact, it doesn't have the train, but similar sized lots, and it's just. I can't say enough about my deal of the month.
Yeah,
it could be my deal of the monthest.
Or also known as the deal of the year.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Well, the good news about the next listing is it's a land sale. So really, there's no way to comp it out with Galen. So we don't have to hear about that, at least for the next 90 seconds. 172 Warren Street is an in-town location. Ryan, when this thing came on, if I remember correctly, you thought 900 was a little aggressive.
Just because I don't think if I'm in the $2 million new home market, which is where the ultimate end user is going to be. If I'm in that market, I would not want to live on that section of Warren Street right next to Dedham Ave.
Right, but does 975 as a sales price for this piece of land, this 16,000 square foot lot, look more impressive? And gosh, I hate to bring this up, but when we think of the house on the corner of Great Plain and Fair Oaks that just came down, it sold for over 1.1.
Yeah, I'd rather be there though.
Right, but this is sold for $150,000 less.
Warren Street is like this wide, really.
No, I know, but when you have a
church
16
is there, there's always people parked on it.
You have a 16,000 square foot lot. You don't have to worry about it.
I hear you. I just I'm going to pay that much money. You're paying well over $2 million to live there. I just think that lot in its location.
Right. Well, and the well over $2 million is speculation at this point, right?
We'll stay tuned, but it's certainly going to be in that neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, literally. Next up is 122 Richdale Road, and it's nice neighborhood. Not really a walk to town location, but a
wider street.
Wider street. My goodness, is this the first time we've had back-to-back colonials?
Yeah. Yeah. This is like almost 2 houses super glued together, though.
Yeah.
But it's good space.
Yep.
It's
Mitchell School District.
Has all the things you're looking for.
1029.
It's a must-see.
Yeah, it makes me think a little bit about the house that I'm going to later.
Okay.
Anywho, next listing, 76 Stevens Road. 76 Stevens Road looks like a pretty sweet deal for the seller, I thought. No? Look at that. Look at that sales price.
Yeah, it's nice.
That's $2,690. That includes the finished basement,
Right.
That's I think it's $2,200 first and second floor.
$2,218. You're right. It's an updated side entrance colonial on a ladder street.
Yeah, I know.
But the lot's less than 8,000 square feet. You're right. I mean that's paying a premium for location.
That's a healthy number.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay.
What interesting? I mean, this went quickly contingent and then back on market and then quickly contingent again. I think the first buyer got relocated.
That's right, and the listing agent wisely put that in the listing sheet because people are going to say what happened the first time.
Because it just screams inspection.
Right, but it's not my fault, says the seller.
Yeah, I like that.
Interesting too that we keep talking about like these square footage numbers are a little low. Like you look at the next listing, and now I have a theme.
Okay.
Your theme was Galen. Mine is Not a lot of square footage for a lot of money.
I'll compare it to Galen.
11, I'm sure you'll find a way. 11 Ridgeway Terrace is the next listing, and this one, again, really nice house.
Yep.
I mean, finished really nicely on the inside.
Sure.
2896 includes the finished basement. So again, we're talking about
big bucks.
2,300 square feet for $1,235,000.
Yeah, in 5 days, likely with competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this one, I think my only beef would be getting in and out of there is dicey, because it's up at the top of like Newbury Park, and it's there's no good way to get in there or out.
Yeah.
A lot of private ways going on.
Yeah.
But
it's not typical.
it's not going to be traffic, so you have that going for you, which is nice.
All right, so I think we're ready for some new construction. Are you? Some relatively inexpensive new construction.
Right.
We're going to go back to Valente.
Well, it depends on, I think, how long you've lived in Needham.
How you say it?
Yeah, I think people, like, previously, or you may say, touching a nerve here, old Needham may say, what do they say?
They say Valente.
No,
Valente is...
Valente is what new Needham says. Valenti is what you hear some older Needham residents say.
Yes,
Valente.
you mean some more long-time Needham residents.
Right.
Right. Yeah, right. I know.
This is our last show.
We had a fan of the show, actually, who initially pointed that out, and I feel like we've tried to cling to that
But
a
no,
little bit.
I thought that was DeFazio versus DeFazio.
No, it's both.
Oh, okay.
But we never talked about the Valente part on the show. That was just an aside.
We just talked about DeFazio.
Right. Okay.
This is definitely our last show.
Let's get over to Central Ave. 828 Central Ave is, new construction 1249. That's cheap these days, Ryan.
I mean, 3,300 square feet. That's obviously part of it, but yeah, I agree. It's I like this, and I liked the old farm / Great Plain. You're building to a market, and
right.
It's
3,300
a smart play right there. Don't overbuild.
Interesting listing coming up next, and that's over on May Street. It's 70 May Street, and this one we walked through.
Yeah.
So this is something you don't see every day. They had basically, illegally converted the garage into an apartment.
Right.
Right.
And they tiptoed around that a lot on the listing sheet and the kind of while you're there, because you don't want to call it an in-law apartment because it's not. It can't be. That kitchenette it really shouldn't be there. But functionally, it's a full-on in-law apartment.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
312 Warren is the next listing, and this one is we're kind of sticking to that near town location at this point. This was not. Well, this is about as close as you could get to a new construction without being a new construction, in the sense that it wasn't built from the ground up, but it was pretty close. Looks very similar, and I think that's not a coincidence to the house across the street.
No, same builder. But
same
also,
builder. It's like a sister almost.
And it fits. It fits the neighborhood. It fits that street. It doesn't overwhelm any of the other homes that are there. And I think this is a nod to the notion that not all new construction has to be intrusive. Like this one, I think, conforms very nicely to Warren.
And I like the wide staircase going up to the front door. Just 3 bedrooms on the second floor, if you remember.
Yeah.
With the 4th bedroom on the 3rd floor. But a unique layout. I wasn't surprised to see that one go as quickly as it did.
Yeah, 6,500 square foot lot.
Yes, very small. Next up is 95 Fair Oaks Park, and this is what we were talking about before, where I don't mind how this was written either. Considered by many to be the premier street in Needham, because you're deflecting a little bit, and it's not untrue.
Yeah, that's a true statement. And this one, I think, had tons of charm and really a nice home and presented very, very well. And it was priced, I thought, very, very well.
Well, clearly.
But I still almost thought this was a deal of the month for the seller.
Yeah.
Because I think that of all the things this house has going for it, it also has some needed
for sure
maintenance and updates, including things like windows and and those kinds of things are going to add up pretty quickly to a house that you're paying almost $1.5 million for, and it didn't have a lot of support for it on paper. The value and the premium is the street.
Yeah.
And so other than that, you could not, and I tried, you couldn't comp this house out on paper without taking the street into consideration.
All right.
So someone is reaching for the street, which I don't blame them, but just hopefully they know they're doing it.
Very good. Next listing's 15 Bancroft Street. This is, this listing we covered, I think, way back in 2012. It sold for $1,228 back then, essentially the same house.
Yep.
Not a ton of backyard space due to the configuration of the lot.
And the ravine.
And the ravine, exactly. But very good location, and took a little bit. But they got I think a pretty good number for this house, Ryan.
Yeah, I think had it been priced closer to where it landed, it might have gone quick. Well, and it's easy to say that, and it makes logical sense. But Yeah, I think it was just a little bit of a stretch for the initial listing price.
Right, it happens. Next listing, I was kind of surprised the next listing didn't go for a little bit more.
Me too, because I was looking at it in right after Bancroft, but then when you really look at it, it's 165 for a house built in 2012. It's not terrible.
Well, first of all, it's a ladder street, right?
Yeah.
And it's a 13,000 square foot lot.
Right,
so
but it slopes.
But it slopes to the back,
yeah.
true. But it's got there's four finished levels. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty good number.
For the buyer.
For the buyer, yes. Thank you for the clarification,
You're
Ryan.
welcome.
Very well done. Our next listing is a new construction, or is it brand new?
I believe. Actually, I don't know.
That foundation, we don't know. But anyway, for those who don't know, James Avenue is off of Manning. It's in between Lindbergh and Brookline, so good little location. It's not a cul-de-sac.
No,
it's a dead end.
But it butts right up to Mitchell property. I mean, this is a street that no one's going to be on.
That's right.
Great Mitchell location.
Yep, small lot, 7,400 square feet.
A lot of under 8,000 square foot lots on this month's docket.
Yeah, it's true.
Lot sold for $650 in July of 2017.
I would say that was a pretty good deal.
Me too.
So, time to hit the Rockwoods. There were a total of 9 houses in the Rockwood division. Entering the show, there were, let's see. This one is the 6th one of the 9 to sell. Not sure about bath accessories here, but this one sells for $1,777. And, yeah, there you go.
Not sure. You think all the owners of Rockwood, when all is said and done, are going to get together and see who got the best deal?
Well, I don't know. It's a good question because I've kind of thought about that a little bit, but I think they are excited because I think once everybody's in, that's when they put the final coat on the street.
Oh,
so
that'll be fun.
That will be fun.
We'll have a big block party for that.
For sure. But they won't be able to walk on the street.
There'll be one side on the street and the other side.
Right. Okay, so over on Reddington Road, when this listing first came on, I was like, I wasn't really sure where Reddington was.
Okay.
But this is off of Warren. It's a little bit
of where Reddington is.
It's off of Warren, kind of closer to High Rock, and it's a tucked away little circle of a street that has some nice homes and some bigger lots.
Sneaky walk to town too. It's a mile from town center.
Sneaky walk to town.
I like this listing and this house, by the way.
Yeah, me too. And I love the dusk picture with the lights on.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a nice look. Over to the 7th of the 9 Rockwoods to sell. This one is 45 Rockwood. So I believe right now, Ryan, there are 2 more and they're both under agreement.
Yeah.
So all 9 will be selling.
Good for Rockwood.
Yeah, they got it done. Time to move on for
all
them.
the neighbors are so thrilled.
Yes, this one sells for, that's a pretty good price, I would say. $189. 8 days on market, so sold pretty quickly. Yeah. And lastly, our big seller, and it is a big seller indeed.
Yeah.
Is on South Street. It's 382 South Street.
6,700 square feet. This one, honestly, Rob, it had a bunch of price reductions, but I didn't think it was overpriced at $2.8. That was a good number.
Yeah.
But it sells for $2.5, so the seller gets a pretty good deal, or buyer gets a pretty good deal.
Yeah, but if they want a pool, they're gonna have to spring for it.
Doesn't have one. It's no Galen.
No, it does not. All right, market snapshot time. Let's take a look at how the market is looking as we enter into the summer. And I would say nothing to be alarmed at here. In fact, well, I don't know. I guess it's all relative. Somebody has to be alarmed at the fact that the average list price is up about $300,000.
But other than that, it's basically we're regurgitating 2017, which was a very strong year in many
Except
capacities.
for the average list price,
right?
though.
Except for that, that's it.
Oh, right.
So but I think we're poised for a very busy rest of the spring market and into the summer closings.
Well, true. Keep in mind, we're behind the pace of the last couple of years in terms of sales.
Total
so we got to
numbers,
make up the difference here a little bit, or else we're going to be down this year.
No, we'll get to 335. Don't you worry.
Okay, thank you.
Don't worry. Everybody just take a deep breath.
All right. So if anybody would like to reach out to us, whether it's to support our decision that we're on the fence on about whether or not we want to be on a float, or if they want to know what their house is worth, or they have any questions regarding the real estate, Ryan, how would they reach out to us?
Easy enough, Rob. You can give us a call anytime. 781-707-6564.
Yep.
You can email us at rob.ryan@hawthornre.com.
Yep.
You can always follow us on Twitter. That handle is at Hawthorn_WMHW.
And that settles it.
Yeah.
How you feel about the show? Pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay. B? All right, that does it. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate it, and we will see you again very soon.
Can't wait.